At Precision, we take great pride in always doing what others say cannot be done. It's why we love our slogan, "Your freight challenges don't scare us." In December 2018, Zeton, the world's largest designer and builder of modular pilot plant and demonstration scale systems, reached out to us with a new request, one that would combine complexity, size, and the right amount of unimaginable. Height and width were the most significant challenges. Module 2 alone was 36 feet in length by 21 feet width and 21 feet height, and a weight of 110,000 pounds, requiring a 13-axle perimeter trailer to keep the height as low as possible. Total dimensions for this load alone were 150 feet length by 21 feet width and 24 feet in height, with a gross weight of 240,000 pounds. The infrastructure in Southern Ontario doesn't allow for loads of this size, and certainly not over the distance we had to travel. Southern Ontario is the epicenter of the busiest highway system in North America. Hundreds of bridges, utility lines, and underpasses line the way. Add traffic congestion and population density, a daytime jump on the highway was out of the question. We weren't moving just one module, but 8 different shaped modules at once, requiring different trailer configurations. Our overall dimensions would test our routing team. What was a mere 17 miles of ordinary travel would end up being 70 miles long, involving thousands of wires, railway tracks, roundabouts, small 2-lane roads, and unurbanized areas. We needed to plan for every obstacle with the added component of night travel over several days. Our client trusted us to consider and account for every detail and make plans on plans and contingencies for every unexpected scenario. We looked over maps, drove roads, recorded measurements, assessed road infrastructure, drew out routes, and planned alternate routes to determine what we needed to make it happen. After 2 months of painstaking planning, we shared the findings with Zeton for their client review. In July 2019, Zeton's client awarded them the project based on them being able to move the modules at the sizes we provided the feasibility study for. Zeton would start building the models with a planned ship date of spring 2020. In January 2020, our preliminary work had begun to prepare for a June 2020 move, but the COVID-19 pandemic rocked the world. We faced manufacturing delays and shipping delays. Attempting to put our operation plan together with most of the workforce, permit officials, utility companies all working from home wasn't an easy task, but our client managed to do their part, and a September 2020 move was rescheduled. The amount of man hours that went into the feasibility study, planning the move, and finding proper parking was astronomical, totaling over 1,800 hours. Traveling on smaller 2-lane roads, we also experienced everyone's favorite objects, trees. The amount of permitting and work that went into the limbs being cleaned by the arborists was extraordinary. Of course, the structures we traveled over required engineering, which led to bridge jumpers being required on some structures. Rail crossings were problematic, especially when we had to request closure of the main east-west line out of Toronto. This resulted in our longest waiting period for all the proper clearances and approvals. Without a doubt, the biggest physical element we dealt with was utility lines, both power and communication lines. Thousands upon thousands had to be raised, lowered, and cut by all qualified crews and personnel. This was made more problematic traveling through the city of Hamilton, a much older city with older infrastructure. During the planning stages, we knew there was going to be an incredible number of vehicles and people working every night on this move. Our goal was to ensure the safety of all Precision employees, contractors, police escorts, everyone, including the public. On some nights, there were over 200 people and 130 vehicles following our operational plan. We ensured we had excellent radio communication, several project managers in charge of each contractor group, one project manager overseeing the entire operation, and most importantly, detailed tailgate meetings prior to moving every night. We added a food truck to keep all the crews fed and caffeinated. We provided press releases to all communities and cities detailing the road closures, with maps and times to make the public aware. Finally, we had to deal with COVID, social distancing, and all the health protocols that came with it. September 16th, 2020, we started loading the 8 modules. Due to the extreme overall size and higher center of gravities, careful consideration was given to the larger modules, blocking and bracing, considering the obstacles in front of us. All loads required big tarps to protect the loads, not only during road travel, but during the ocean voyage. Significant planning went into these tarps with our supplier, even requiring drawings to identify where flaps were placed for tie-downs and lifting. Once all the modules were carefully loaded, tarped, checked, and double-checked, we were ready and eager to put all our plans into place. Finally, on September 28, 2020, all our hard work, strategic, and intricate planning was going to be tested. The planning team, project managers, drivers, escorts, all of us were ready and excited. Rain and more rain welcomed us on our first night of moving. We departed Zeton's facility at 9:45 p.m., driving a short distance where the first and biggest railway crossing closure of the main east-west rail line of Toronto and Southern Ontario would be closed. Trains had to be stopped and flagged through the crossing, while the overhead signals were removed due to our height. Once the light signals were out of the way, the rail signalman guided each load across safely, and our night continued. The first big test was behind us, and all the crews started to find their rhythm. Night 2 started with news crews, calls for interviews, pictures, and videos. By now, our social media team was in full swing as our move had made all the local news stations. Our travel went into the smaller 2-lane roads and a bridge jump. The entire road had to be closed hours before our arrival and remained closed while we crossed, and our crews were able to remove all bridge jump equipment. Night 3 was met with eager crews to take on the dreaded Jerseyville Road roundabout. All signs were removed in advance, curbs had to be blocked, and mats put down to protect the pavement, stone, and curbs. Our blocking and bracing was put to the test with resounding success. Night 4, we experienced the full effect of main power line transmission issues, with 4 separate lines to shut power off to. The process was slow. As sunrise approached, reaching our preordained parking area was not going to happen. We quickly put our backup plan into action and safely parked the convoy on Rymel Road in Hamilton, setting up a traffic management corridor to reinforce the public safety, as well as vehicles, equipment, cargo drivers, and everyone else involved. Night 5, we had 2 options: push through and aim to make it to the Port of Hamilton at all costs, or stick to our original parking spot plan and make the night a short one. Considering we were already on the road for 4 long nights, we decided to make it a short one, catch our breath, get some sleep, and be fresh to tackle the Hamilton part of the move. Night 6 would prove to test not only our drivers, but all our hired contractors, crews, police escorts, everyone. Although we were only 9 miles from our delivery location at the port, we had to travel through downtown Hamilton, filled with many old structures, many side streets, and an incredible amount of power and communication lines, all of which had to be lifted or dropped. We increased our escort situation, employing 18 police officers and 30 certified super load escorts to close side streets and funnel traffic away from our travel path. As expected, we knew this last night would be slow, at times barely moving inches every minute. The convoy down Barton Street East stretched as much as 1.5 miles when you counted the trailers, support trucks, utility trucks, and police escorts. It was a remarkable sight. After the last right turn from Barton Street East to Sherman Avenue, we could see the end of the journey. We rolled through the port gates at 7:25 a.m., safe and sound. We were exuberant, relieved, and really tired. A few days later, the modules were loaded onto the ship to take them to the final destination in France. This was another successful move that challenged us, tested us, and pushed us like no other before.
We've worked in the past with Precision Specialized as a transportation partner on a number of projects. And they've demonstrated to us here at Zeton that they have the key capabilities and performance to execute those kinds of moves.
Precision was fantastic. They worked with us, they met with us. Those partnerships are key, and I don't think any business today could survive if they didn't have those good relationships. You want to maintain the good partnerships that you rely on when you hit these really tough times like through a pandemic.
Zeton put the trust in us to deliver, and we delivered. What may have seemed impossible, we made possible. In the end, everyone involved, our team, subcontractors, police services, utility companies, and especially our drivers did one hell of a job. We are Precision. It's what we do. It's who we are.